But let me just introduce myself. Like I said, Michael Newmark, Administrative Law Judge for the Public Service Commission. Today, it's our second session for the public hearing session in the Langdon Mills case. We're here to take your comments. We did that as well at 1 p.m. and we're also taking comments in writing. There are 96 comments online so far. There's a number of ways that you can comment by speaking today. That's one way. The other way is just writing your comment out on the appearance slip and handing that back to staff. And you can add more pages if you like. And the third way is if you check the QR code, you can go right to our website and fill out the comment online. The notice of hearing also has like the full link for that too, in case you need to type that in. So basic process here today. Oh, and then let me just remind you, on Friday, we'll be on Zoom taking testimony from the parties and commission staff. So that's gonna be at 10 a.m. on Friday. Nothing in person, just all on Zoom. Okay, great. So we did have a few comments in the afternoon. Looks like we'll have a few more this evening. And just so you know, the basic process, we're here to get your comments. We're transcribing what you say, and we'll provide that transcript to the 3 commissioners that run our agency. They'll make a decision based on the record, which will be all the evidence that I accept from the parties and staff and the public comments. So they'll review all those documents before they make a decision on the case. And the commission has the authority to approve, deny, or approve the project with modifications. So that's kind of your audience. You want to be mindful that you want to speak to the record and make sure that your comment is informing the commission about your opinion. In order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call out the names on these appearance slips that I have. I'll have you come up to the front of the room. I'm going to swear you in and have you take a seat. Basically, we just want your opinion. So just tell us what you think about the case. Just want to be sure you get close to the microphone. It's kind of an ad hoc system here, but it works okay. You want to get close to the mic and you want to speak slowly and clearly so the court reporter here can understand what you're saying and get everything you say on the record. So I think that's all we need to review at this point. So I'm going to call our first witness. Oh yeah, a question.
Is this audio or video recorded?
It's going to be on YouTube. Yeah. So it'll be a recording on YouTube at the PSC's YouTube channel.
Camera's where?
It's this thing here.
Okay.
So it's a 360 camera. And if you're speaking, it kind of zooms on your face. So what it's been doing mostly, it's been splitting the screen up between me and the witness, and then also the court reporter. Sorry. So she's in most of the video as well. So yeah, it's mostly the 3, and then it kind of just pans the entire room, but everyone's pretty small in the back. Any other logistical questions here? Okay, so first name I have, I think it's Julie. Is it Nyman? Neiman. Okay, sorry about that. Come up and have a seat. Okay, first raise your right hand. You swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yeah.
All right. Good. There we go. Go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Julie Neiman. I would like to make clear on the record that I am in opposition of large scale solar to the Courtland Township area. I learned about this several months ago. Actually, I think it's almost a year ago already. I was really disheartened how this came about, the lack of communication. That was first and foremost. I want to also make clear my buy-in or my concern for this as a citizen is I've been a lifelong member of the Courtland Township. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a public health nurse supervisor with Columbia County. I have a lot of safety concerns about this project. And I've been married to a firefighter for 20 years. He's been a firefighter for 30. I'm speaking on his behalf as well. He could not be here tonight. Some of my major concerns with this project is the volume of farmland that this will be placed on and consuming. I think it's taking valuable acres away from food production, which I think is a big consideration. I know that we're facing energy crisis, and I'm very much supportive of solar projects, but not on this grand scale and not when it takes away our ability to produce food. And the impact is significant. My husband is on the Randolph Fire Department. The safety concerns that I have for this include fires. We're very concerned about what would happen if one of the converters started on fire, the lithium batteries starting on fire, the solar panels starting on fire. This area is surrounded and supported by local volunteer firefighters who already struggle to get teams together to put out fires. And I think a fire that would spread at this magnitude is very concerning. We've done a lot of research to these projects, and I think the toxic fumes from the fires that could be produced are also very concerning. And I think that the fire department is not equipped at this time to handle these types of fires. They're very different from a structure fire. They haven't had the proper training or the funding for the equipment to deal with something like this, a fire on this scale. So that's my other concern. And I'm also very concerned about the wildlife that this would be surrounding. We live in a very rural area. We live very close to Horicon Marsh. We have a lot of wildlife in the area, some protected animals. There's eagles in the area. And I think that there has been a significant lack of study and research done to the impact that this is going to have on the wildlife in the area. It's one of the reasons that we really enjoy living in this area, and we think it'll have a significant impact. I'm also concerned about driving and looking at thousands of acres of solar panels and listening to the noise from the solar panels, the glare from the solar panels. That's a significant concern. So those are also things that are rather disheartening to me at this time as well. I think I probably have a few more comments. I'm trying to think of them all before I step off the seat, but those are some of my major concerns at this time. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. I'm sure that there's a lot of residents here who will pick up where I left off and have their concerns as well. So, all right, thank you.
Well, perfect, thank you. Okay. You have Donald Wetland Jr. Yeah. Swear in, swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. All right, go ahead, speak into the mic, please.
I can't outdo Julie. I just got some concerns. Big one, I'm Don Wetland, live out on Holnigal Road. I got big concerns about land erosion. To the west of me is quite a valley going down into a ditch line. And I enjoy my view. And it's going to be there for the rest of my life. I feel there's probably some different, this is my opinion, I think there's different locations for solar panels, rooftops, non-populated areas, you know, we're pretty close to this. And not prime farmland, we're going to be covering up some prime farmland here. And then like, I'm hoping there's visual barriers to block, you know, some of this if it goes through inverter. That really has a big concern for me too, because I looked at the plan and it looks like it's going to be pretty close to my west fence line. That's pretty close to my house. And the noise concerns is setbacks. How close is it going to be to my house? And then wildlife, Julie said, I'm a big hunter. I don't want to see that interrupted, the travel pattern. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, well, thanks for.
Thank you.
Yeah. Henry St. Maurice. Saying that right? Oh, there you are. Oh, sorry. Right, you get sworn. Have a seat first. I'll bring in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. I'd like to first of all thank the Public Service Commission for holding these local hearings. It means a lot, and we're very glad that you're here. I am a resident of Columbus. I serve in the county board, but I'll speak as a private citizen. We've been involved in this county for well over a year in these discussions, and it's good to have these hearings, and I'm glad to participate. I really have three thoughts to share. First of all, I have heard these concerns from people attending our county board meetings and people here, and I want to say that I share those concerns. I think there's a real sense of loss, imminent loss that people have, and there's strong feelings that go with that. And we've been hearing that at the county level for well over a year, and it's hard not to respond to that, saying that you understand that, you share that, you want to do something about that. So that's first reason I'm here. Second is, I want to speak to the Public and Public Service Commission, because it seems to me that energy policy and land use are public issues, extend beyond any one community or any one county or any one state. We all have a stake in the future of clean, safe, affordable energy. So I have not exactly a position about this proposal, but I have a strong inclination to support that which provides the greatest public service to our communities and certainly to our nation. And that brings me to my third point. If you look up the words energy justice, you'll find some interesting reading. I got this from one of my colleagues on the county board. Energy justice is a process by which those who have to bear responsibility have a sense of justice, that there's a give and take. What they get and what they give should be fair. And that's been my concern all along at the county board level and as a citizen, that this is done fairly. So those are my 3 points. And again, thank the Public Service Commission for hearing us.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chief Medema. Did it again. Afternoon.
I've been called worse.
Oh, not here yet. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. All right, go ahead. Thank you. My name is Keith Miedema. I'm a resident of Courtland Township. I've been aware of this project since I believe it was around August of 2021. Those who have spoken before me, the 3 folks, I agree with every single word that was stated, so I appreciate that. So I'm not going to reiterate a lot of that. In addition to what's been stated, I have concerns over home value with this project, loss of value in my situation. In addition, I think whenever you have a project like this or anything where you have significant potential change, there has to be a feeling of trust working with the agency that are involved. And the way this came about to my attention in 2021 was a random person telling me that this is coming. And to dig deeper to learn that this has been in the works for a significant amount of time with people that we know as our community members, friends, family. And to learn that it was almost a hush-hush situation. And I think that's how this whole, when you start a project like this with that ideal of you can't tell, it brings a lot of red flags for people. And I think just to start that, once we dug in more, we learned more, there was a lot of things happening behind closed doors that just didn't seem right. And I think that's important to note because it's really, really hard to build that trust back in this situation because knowing there's a lot of people in opposition of this project, and part of it is because we don't trust what might actually happen. And I think that's unfortunate. It's brought a lot of hard feelings, and I know there's a lot of logistical things that come into play. I agree with the wildlife concerns, the fire concerns, et cetera, et cetera. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we have to look out in what's in the best interest of us and all the investments that we made into our homes, our properties. And we just need assurances that we won't lose value. We won't hear inverters all night long when we're trying to sleep. We won't have our wildlife affected and things like that. We need to trust that safeguards are put into place. There's setbacks appropriate. So I would love for you to come see the sunset over by my house tonight, because you'd see a beautiful sunset over a horizon that if this comes to fruition, I'll be looking at solar panels. And that's something I hope doesn't happen. I do believe there's a place for green energy, but I do believe it needs to be in other, I think there's other options that have not been explored. I do believe we also need to really do a sincere environmental impact study to see what those impacts are, because I think there are a lot of unknowns yet. And that's what I had to say.
All right, thanks very much. So it's Denise Hoekstra. There's always a chance. I do apologize about that. All right, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
My name is Denise Tuxcott. I live on County Road G. Paradise Marsh is my backyard. I have many concerns about farmland being used for large scale solar projects. So to feed off what Henry mentioned, that this isn't just a township, a county, or a state level. This is a country level. So we have refugees coming into our country from Afghanistan, Ukraine. We have people from the border trying to seek asylum. Where is the food going to be made up? I sent an email to Governor Evers' team asking him the question, what is the plan for the loss of production to feed people? I was sent to the PSC committee and I was told that I had to ask that question on the docket. But there's no one specific project that this pertains to. It pertains to the whole country. So thank you for giving me my opportunity to ask this question. What is our plan? You know, the plan is everybody wants to do large scale utility projects on prime agricultural farmland. But what is the plan for the implication and the negative impact for the loss of production? And this will reduce food production, not just in canned vegetables, but your pet food. It's gonna, you know, your meat, your dairy, your beef cattle, pork, poultry. It's a whole big trickle down effect. Just a ballpark figure. I'm not sure if anybody realizes 1,000 acres of prime agricultural land has the potential to manufacture like a 15-ounce size can of green beans, corn, whatever, double-digit million cans of produce. You take that by, I think there's a project they're saying is 10,000 acres up north. You take that by multiple thousands of acres over 30 years, that number is billions, trillions, whatever. That's the food we're gonna lose in production. It's going to cost manufacturers more money to contract land to feed their animals for food. Where does it end? The prices are going to be passed on to the consumers in a market that's already inflated extremely high prices. Shelves are bare for, you know, canned goods. So this doesn't just affect a township. This is a countrywide issue. I am not against renewable energy. I am for it placed in the right place. Prime agricultural land is not the right place. My other concern that I have is wildlife. Again, I live on Paradise Marsh. We have deer that actually cross our lawn. There's times we've got videos of 16 deer on our lawn. There's owls, there's eagles, there's cranes, there's wood ducks. We've seen monarch butterflies last year. What are these going to do to the wildlife? Those are the big concerns I have. Another concern I have is, as Keith was saying, this whole project was very hush. It was like we were not supposed to find out about it. And when we did, our chairperson of our township at that time, along with our planning and zoning commissioner, didn't want us to know anything about this. When we brought it up, they kept telling us, we don't know anything. It's not a township matter. But they are big investors in this project. They are no longer affiliated with the town board. And I do know that the chairperson and the planning and zoning commissioner at that time went by themselves to the attorney with a JDA, and the township paid for that invoice with no knowledge to the township. It was never brought to the board meetings, nothing. So to me, it's very conflict of interest that we had this for a year plus with town board people being involved. So I thank you for listening to me. And I hope that there is a plan if this goes through as to what we're going to do to replenish the loss of production.
Okay, thanks very much. Amy Medema? I'm getting there. Little bit of hesitation there, but I was close.
I have a question. And I don't know if you want to swear me in first, but it's about the timing. I have quite a few farmers that couldn't make it. They're in the field because it's a nice day. So maybe planning on a rainy day next time. I don't know. No, but I think a lot of them.
I'll consult the Farmer's Almanac.
Thank you.
There we go.
Just kidding.
All right, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. All right. And I've got mine written on
Yeah, yeah.
here, just so I didn't miss any points here. So, all right, my name is Amy Medema, and I too oppose commercial size solar in our community. I reside in Courtland Township, and I have for 16 years. My family and I have significant concerns with this project. As Denise, Keith, everyone has said about how it came about, how hush hush it is. Very concerning. Communication is key, I feel, and thank you for having this. One major concern has to do with land values. The proposal puts the solar panels and fencing in our direct site of our home. Our home is our largest investment, as it is many of us that live in the Courtland Township. We have concerns regarding the natural habitat and wildlife in our area. We are located in some of the most beautiful and wildlife rich areas in our state, and we hope that continues. We hope that this project would not impact our surrounding environment. We also have concerns over taking quality, good farmland out of production. This is the culture of our community and state. Another major concern we have is that there are also many concerns about safety and well-being for us as humans, our township and surrounding areas, and potential fire hazards. We're good friends with those that are on local fire departments within the area. And there's a lack of the fire personnel, the equipment to handle these size projects. Even with training, I don't know if we'd have enough man or woman power to handle if something were to happen. Some of these projects, like where we live, are on dead-end roads, and the panels surround our homes and our families. This is a huge concern, a human concern. This project could be very dangerous to us if these solar panels have any issues. We'd encourage the PSC to take a look at alternative ways and environments in placing renewable energy. For example, parking ramps on top of roofs or on non-croppable farmland. Much of the land around here is production and it's cropland. Why not take it in other areas that are maybe sandy soil or other places for that? With the proposed placement of these solar panels on current farmland, again, good rich soil that feed the world, it seems as though we're trying to solve one problem, yet create many other problems while doing this. Lastly, we'd like the PSC to look at doing an environmental impact study on this project. Please, please do this for our community, our children, and our families' safety and well-being. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for your comment. So Lorelei Ryerson. Give swear in, you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, get close to the mic when you comment.
My chair. Sit down.
There you go. Perfect.
I am Lorelei Ryerson. I have resided in Courtland Township for nearly 25 years. I built just 8 miles from where I grew up. So I've been a resident in Columbia County for my life. I built there specifically because of the view. I overlook Paradise Marsh, so aesthetics is very important to me. I'm also an avid hunter, so wildlife is also very important to me. Farming, prime farmland is more valuable than gold. To take it out of commission actually seems very senseless, in my opinion, because of what it does for the human race. It produces food. We can't live without food. We can live without energy, some, because people do. We can learn to conserve energy by shutting off lights, doing simple things, but we need food. So it's a huge concern that they're thinking of taking that land out of commission. And I think everyone's been hitting on the same thing. So it's being said over and over. So it's obviously a sensible thing to discuss. But I also want to say that I am here to stay. This is our home. People coming in to put in solar panels, they don't live here. This is our place of comfort, security, safety, our home. And it feels a bit like it's being invaded upon. They're not considering people. I think they're considering profit. I feel this is very money driven. The PSC, as far as I know, has not turned down a single project in the state of Wisconsin. I could be wrong, but last I knew, they had approved of every single project. And I doubt that every project really fits the criteria that's necessary to have commercialized solar panels. So my concern really is that their decision, the 3 of them that decide this, is affecting an entire community, an entire state. And again, they don't live in my home. I do, my son does, perhaps future generations. And this is where we want to be, and we do not want to be driven out by commercial solar panel projects. And that's really all I have to say. It's just that I agree with everybody else here, and we want to protect our homes.
Well, thank you, appreciate it. Elaine Hurd. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
My name is Elaine Hurd, and I live in Springvale Township, and I have since 1972. Do the math. I am against solar on productive farmland. And I could repeat just about everything that some of the others had said, but I guess I'll take this opportunity to say that I'm so disappointed that a big corporation would come in and dangle a golden carrot in front of our farmers who struggle at times. So my main concern is the greed involved
I don't think Samsung would even be here if the government wasn't subsidizing the project. That's just my feeling. But anyway, I saw, by the way, I saw an eagle on the way here. And I'm pretty concerned that these large scale solar projects are going to do something terrible to our wildlife. I just don't feel that they can tell us that, oh, it won't hurt the wildlife or anything, but I'm worried about the food, as others have said. Are we going to eat bugs in the future? I don't know. But my absolute biggest concern is the greed part of it. The greed on the part of the big corporations that are doing this. And I feel so bad that the farmers fell for the greed too. I just feel badly about that, but Wisconsin was always supposed to be known as a kind of a natural state. And I can remember when the county, I don't know if they still do, but the county would always say, you gotta have 35 acres to build a house because we need to preserve farmland. What happened? We don't want to preserve farmland any longer? I don't know. And we have some of the richest farmland in our area, Springvale and Courtland. If you looked at the state of Wisconsin and the rental, you know, what land rents go for, our area has some of the highest paid rentals. So that means that the land is rich, productive, and whatever. So I'm very concerned about that. I'm not against solar, actually. I think has its place, but I don't think it has its place on rich farmland. There's other places I think that we could have it. So I guess that's about it.
I appreciate your comment.
Thank you.
So Patty Fisher's next. And swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do. Am I close enough?
Yeah, it should be okay.
I may be repeating things that people have already said. But I have a few notes. I'm a Springvale Township resident, been for 50+ years. To see solar panels covered on the best farmland to grow food for everyone in the world would be sad to see. I've been in transportation industry for 30+ years. And now there's stick of, we have more ethanol and the way of production could make more production with solar. Well, a lot of the crops here just don't go to ethanol. They go to feed us. And also the redirection of the wildlife in the area, other ones have covered. I think it'll be devastating when they redirect all the wildlife. Just the deer alone will just ravage the remaining crops. And it'll be sad to see the eagles and other birds that people have worked really hard, DNR, Audubon, to redirect. I saw golden eagles, bald eagles, ospreys. Now they may all leave. Just with the windmills by Cambria here. The migration of the geese are different because they brought those in. Now this they bring in may change that migration as well. And I have friends and other acquaintances from my work who already have solar on their business or their homes. Quite a few of them regret it because it just doesn't seem to be what it is. Because there's little things along the way that were not told to them initially. Let's see here. And also I've heard many that have signed up really don't have many friends now. People will not speak to them because of the hush hush, no one knowing about it. And then also, if the project goes through, we here may not see their decommissioning of it, very possibly, because if it goes so many years. Will the next generation say, why did they do this? For the greed of a few? Which hopefully we don't. Once in a while you hear that through years. Why did they do this? Why did they do that? And that could very easily be this. And then my final point is reading the comments that are already on the website that are in favor of it. They don't have to live here. They don't have to go down next to it. They don't have to be near it. So they can be in favor of it. They don't have to deal with it day to day. We do. So I think that's all that I have time. Thank you for your time.
Thanks very
Appreciate you
much.
coming here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Dave Paul. Swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Go ahead.
My name is Dave Paul. I've lived in Township of Courtland since 1976. We have a stretch on Holnagle Road that's about 3/4 of a mile long. And on that stretch, there are 20 deer crossings. Where are these deer going to cross? That's a huge concern, what's going to happen to them. Another concern that I've really had is, like the other said, how this whole thing has been hushed up for 2 to 3 years already, not made known to the public. Our previous township chairman said it's between the landowner and Samson. It's really none of our business, but when it concerns our whole environment in the area, it does concern us. She was definitely wrong on that. But try to get the truth out of her was like pulling teeth. So that was a huge concern. One of the first meetings I attended, I said, this whole project is going to divide friends, family, and the neighbors, and it already has. Previous people have said that it has really been some concerns about what it's doing. People won't wave at people that have signed up. They won't talk to him, and it's hard. I think Samson has misled a lot of the farmers, landowners in the township of Courtland. There's approximately 8 to 10 of them that were misled with information that was not true and did not tell them the whole thing. I have looked at a contract and it says on the bottom that this needs to stay confidential, that we don't want this spread out. Tell the people. There's a project in Iowa that's been going on for over 3 years. And the way that company has presented the project is to have meetings to inform the public before the solar company even came in. So that's a proper way of doing it, not under the table, behind it, people's back. So that's a red flag right there when they try to do things and keep it all hushed up. Again, this is prime farmland in this area. And I really watched the weather this year, January, February, March, about 75 to 80% of the days, they were cloudy. So why are we taking prime farmland and putting in mediocre solar panels? So it's probably not going to be, the most productive project at this time. And then the other thing is when these solar panels, when they do wear out, how are they going to recycle them? I asked, we had a meeting right here in Cambria, and I asked 3 different people with the Samsung company. Nobody could give me a straight answer. We haven't experienced that yet. That's a long ways down the road. So it's like a lot of misinformation from them people. So we know that they cannot be trusted at this time. Thank you.
Okay, great, thanks. Jacqueline Granquist. Are you in? Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna read most of this, 'cause,
Okay.
yeah, public speaking. So my great great grandparents and my great grandparents, depending on which side of the family you look at, immigrated to this area in the late 1800s to start farms. I grew up around here, but moved away after high school, and we recently moved back here from Colorado. We are not against solar. We had it on our roof in Colorado. Homes in our neighborhood without solar on the roof were in the minority, partly because of how much sun there is in Colorado. Around here, we get more clouds than sun. So that should be something that should come into consideration. I have a couple of just different points here. Things like glare. Birds already fly into my front windows on a fairly regular basis. They then land on the deck with a very dazed head. I can't imagine what the glare from solar panels would do to these birds. Other wildlife, we enjoy various kinds of animals in our property. We've got deer, a herd of deer that come through frequently. We have a Tom and his hens that have been walking around quite a bit lately. I've seen eagles, all kinds of birds. With the fencing, the noise, and the inordinate amount of activity during construction, their habitats are going to be affected, and they're going to probably leave the area. What is that going to do for the overall ecosystem? The comprehensive plan for both Courtland Township and Columbia County have an emphasis on protecting farmland. I've heard that the solar panels are farming the sun, and while that might be true, why would we have to give up food production to do that? Smaller arrays placed in various areas, panels on rooftops, even the Badger ammo plant where other things can't be built now anymore, something other than agricultural land. Why can't we have both? Not that it would fix everything, but having protections for those of us who have to live around this, barriers to shield panels from view, berms to help with the sound mitigation, and appropriate setbacks. Specifically our house, the way that it's set up right now, we are off the road approximately a third of a mile. And while we can see the road, we mainly see the two fields in front of our house. Those both fields are signed up for solar, and we would have the front view out of our front windows would no longer be wildlife and farmland, it would be solar panels. So having something put in that would mitigate that, we would appreciate. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that your address is on the appearance slip. That's the land that you're talking about.
That is the home. Yes, that's our
Okay.
home.
Okay, yeah. Thanks. So Derek Granquist. You swear or affirm the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
So the first thing I want to bring up is the ordinances and the regulations that the PSC has. When I go to the PSC website and I look for solar regulations, ordinances, things that would protect our communities, I find 7 hits, 5 of which have to do with solar water heaters and solar pipes. So we have that, and then I compare that with wind, and I look up wind and I find over 220 hits of ordinances and guidances, things about size and placement, setbacks, all of that. The PSC and all this, I don't know how many projects they've approved that have not, that what are we approving? You know, what guidances, what ordinances are we approving them against? If we only have literally the word solar comes up 2 times in the ordinances and over 200 on the wind. So I think we're grossly inefficient or insufficient in how many records and how many guidelines we put in place for the solar, whether it be setbacks, noise abatement, glare abatement, light abatement from everything. You know, these are all good things that need to be in place for any community to cooperate. That's why we have ordinances. That's why we have the comprehensive plan, is to kind of look forward. So when you're buying a house, when you're looking at the future of my future and the future of my community, I know what to expect. I know what to plan for. And we're essentially through this project tossing the comprehensive plan out the window. The very people that signed off on this plan, to mention one, the Wingers, they were both party and signed off on the comprehensive plan as supporting it. And just a few years later now, they're the ones helping to bring in this situation, as was mentioned before, under the table, in secret, and undisclosed. So that was an issue. The other issue I want to bring up is the tax bonus incentive. It was alluded to earlier that because of our community, we have a lot of, we have a coal plant. And I'm well aware that there is a tax incentive. They get an extra percentage to come to our community and envelop our farmland with industrial solar panels because of the tax incentive. If you took this tax incentive away, the regular one and or the bonus for being a coal plant, I would imagine that they would go elsewhere. So it does not make financial sense for them to do it. If it does, then why are we putting our tax dollars into this? If it makes perfect, are we just here to enrich another company? So if we're putting our tax dollars into it with incentives, that means they wouldn't come here naturally. So we are essentially guiding them. We're rolling out a red carpet and inviting them in a sense, attracting them like a magnet does metal shavings. So that's a very concerning thing, that we've done nothing to address this incentive, and we're actually targeting communities for this destruction via these incentives. The third thing I want to talk about is there's farmers wanting out of their contract. It's actually been mentioned a couple of times, and I've talked to specific farmers. I know of 3. One has actually put a comment into your box because he doesn't feel comfortable coming up and sitting. And these farmers were not aware of a lot of the details that are coming out about these contracts. They were given, I don't know, 18 pages, whatever the contract was, and they sat down, they signed it. They thought they were doing a good thing for their future and their land, not realizing all of the ramifications of it. The companies did not come and allow them and their community to ask questions. The Bible says in the multitude of counselors there is safety, and there's a reason for that. That's why we have lawyers, so you can get counsel, you can get advice. A lot of these, the farmers weren't advised or weren't directed to lawyers. They were given a contract and they got basically a cover sheet that had a bunch of fuzzy, nice, cool details. It was a nice shiny car on the outside. And when they got home, now the, transmission's got wood shavings in it and the, oil's dripping out the bottom. And, they're finding out a lot of things about this contract that they weren't aware of when they signed it. And I know of at least 3 that severely went out, and they are seeking any opportunity to get out of their contracts, but they're being basically held in bondage by these solar companies. How is this fair and right in our American society? To contract someone in such a way that they feel enslaved? I thought we abolished that. So to enslave someone in a contract where they have no option out, no opt-out clause, no justification to, I'm just not comfortable with this anymore. I mean, nothing's been put up on their property. It's not like, the solar panels halfway through the project and, now they have to pull out. No, we're talking about people that nothing's been started. I mean, I doubt a flag or piece of paint line has even been in their yard yet. And they don't want it anymore. And the solar company's like, nope, you're stuck. They're not giving them an option to get out. Where's the PSC in providing these farmers protection? So we're talking about our community and our protection. We're talking about farmers that have signed these contracts that should be protected by the PSC and their rulings and their observance of all these things. And then even to a point that as we argue against the system, we're arguing for those that are still in it, that want to be in it, because we're concerned about things like prescriptive rights. What happens in 6, 8, 10 years when the utilities come up? There's already been an article put out by JP Morgan 2 months ago now, where they are seriously pursuing what's the term, eminent domain in an effort to overcome properties that haven't complied or haven't signed up for these contracts. So now we're going to take properties that we can and then add to our toolkit eminent domain to then take more property and cover with solar. JP Morgan, Chase, they're not living here. The solar company, they're not living here. They're not moving into this area. This is not their home and community. They had an open house recently, and I asked them, how many panels have they put in their area? And they're talking like 300 kilowatts or something versus thousands of megawatts. It was a grossly small number of what they're doing in their own communities compared to our community here. You know, they're glad to come here and put it, but they're not putting it in theirs. The last thing I want to talk about is the fire department. We have the solar panels themselves that are a concern. If they light up, this has happened already. We're not talking about hypotheticals. Five fires at Amazon on their rooftops of these solar panel arrays have caused them to have to shut down and re-engineer things. You know, there's stuff that they didn't foresee, they didn't plan for. How do I know that this is such a new thing and we're just rolling it out like it's been in production for 50 years. So there's no precautionary measures that way. We're also putting in these battery systems, and it's been all over the news about how many of these Ford Lightnings are lighting on fire. When the Teslas burn, the fire department just has to kind of keep a barricade back and let the thing burn because there's no way to extinguish it. There's no way to treat it. They just let it burn out. Once it suffocates, once it burns itself out, then they can remove the wreckage. So there's no protection that way. These battery systems are, this particular one is being placed very near a large community, a large population. If the wind blows, as it usually does from the west, that wind and those toxins are going to just flood right across into large populated communities. Are we going to have another Ohio event where, we're going to have basically toxins that who knows how long it's going to deplete in the soil and ruin people's houses and livelihoods, and people from livelihoods to just their humble abode they plan to retire in. I know people that have sold their house already and had to move because of the terror inside of them, because of losing the value in their property. They've soaked everything into it for their retirement, and they're worried that the values are going to drop because statistically they haven't, or they have. It's already a matter of fact, and they're worried about that. So they've sold and moved, and coincidentally, the person that comes along to buy it is another one of those that have contracts that have the money to do that. So this is not bringing the community together; it's tearing us apart at every seam. It's not uniting; it's dividing. And so we have health and safety concerns. We have familial and community concerns. This is not just that we're a group against solar panels. We're not. As my wife just said, we've had them on our house. I would encourage them. There's people that I've talked to that have a 10 kilowatt array in their system, and they're offsetting times two. They're overproducing and feeding back in the grid. I'm all for that. But turning thousands of acres of agricultural land into industrial solar without any kind of conversion process, without any public input, without any of these kind of things, we're not using the natural methods such as rezoning to do this. We're being underhanded and calling the solar agriculture, and there's no solar seed that I know of. So I'm very disappointed. I'm mostly disappointed that the PSC has not stepped forward and at the very least stepped in to provide ordinances and protection and guidance. Put a moratorium, put a pause in place, and set up some guidelines, at least some guidelines to protect those. Set the inverters 1,000 feet from any residence. Set the setbacks a couple hundred feet from the roads and from other places. Give pathways. Make sure that there's no continuous fence for more than 100 feet, so that you have pathways for wildlife to go through. There's so many things we could do, even though we can disagree on it. There's things that we can do that we've done nothing, and that's my concern. Thank you for your time.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. Let's move on. So we have Daryl Bubbles. Getting that right? Bubbolz.
Yep.
Wow. All right. It happens sometimes. Sure. Swear you in. Do you swear or affirm? Tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Go ahead.
My name's Daryl Bubbolz. I've been living here since 1962, since I've been born. Been farming ever since I was 12 years old, and farming is rough. And now if I have a chance to produce some solar panels, that's going to make farming a little easier for me, I am going to take it. On my point on that, I am really used to going home and turning on that switch and getting power. Where else are we going to get power from? This is the only option we have. It's either wind or solar. Coal plants shutting down. Are they going to build a nuclear plant there? I highly doubt it. So I feel We need solar to produce the energy for everybody to turn on the light switch. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your comment. Pat Van Buren. That's okay, we got that.
You can say that name, right?
And do you swear or affirm tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
First of all, I want to, thank you for letting me speak. I know I have spoken, to Michael Newark before at a, public hearing we had on Zoom. My concern is I live on 5 acres in the township of Courtland. I will be completely surrounded on all 4 sides. I will not have a view. I will have a fence around my property. And I will be living in a prison. Now, I don't feel it's fair that you put solar panels on every side of someone's environment. I did not move in the country to live in that situation. And I really don't think that you could find anybody in a subdivision who would agree to that. Subdivisions have restrictions. I asked the PSC to send me all their documentation, which they have done in the last few months since January. I received an environmental assessment from Langdon Mills Solar Project, which was 66 pages long. And I want to just talk to you a little bit about that. I looked on page 62. It says new environmental effects. The physical presence of facility on landscape would create environmental effects or changes relating to land use, aesthetics, wildlife impact, changes to vegetation and stormwater runoff and filtration. The installation of small solar PV facilities have occurred elsewhere, although nowhere near the scale project submitted in the last years, which means us. The potential for avian collisions with solar arrays is currently being studied. So at this point, we don't even know, according to your own paper here. The large increase in the fenced acreage could have effects on how animals move through the project area. There may be unanticipated impacts to wildlife, vegetation. In Samsung states, they are not fully understood at this time. I think we need more studies to fully understand what's going to happen. If you don't understand it as yourself as Samsung, why aren't there environmental impact studies? Fencing impacts to wildlife, 3.33.3, page 59. Where array areas are located along road right-of-ways, the addition of fencing may lead to more wildlife and driver interactions, potentially resulting in injury or mortality. Once again, Dave Paul talked about the deer, the wildlife. And the chance of the deer being in a roadway is very significant. If you have a 1-mile road like I live on, and I'm completely surrounded by deer, where are the deer to go if it's all fenced? Except down the road. And deer don't have radar, they just run right into my car, because that's happened to my husband several times. The other question I have is, I have grandchildren. In 30 years, I probably won't be here. We just have to admit that. And a lot of us people won't be here. 30 years is a long time to commit to a project. 30 years where my children may never have a house to inherit because the property value is going to be so devalued. I have some information from September 17 of 2020 from it's a certified general real estate appraiser, Mark Heckman, with 34 years of residential, industrial, and commercial valuations in Pennsylvania. He testified under oath after almost 100 hours of independent research that the surrounding 114 township residential homes will suffer real estate damages and lose up to 20% or more of assessed property values. If the project is approved, this creates detrimental conditions and negative view sheds. Who will pay for this loss? And I want to ask that question. Is it the farmer? Is it Samsung? Don't we as a community have a right to not lose that much money out of our properties when we want to give those properties someday to our children? Now, I won't be here, but my grandchildren will. And I worry about their future. especially those with adjacent houses located within 1,000 feet of an industrial solar power plant, like will be next door to me. Those places are only going to have a 25-foot setback, according to Samsung. They wrote in their literature that I received that that's the county standard setback. Now, there are many people in this room who have spent much time researching solar. They've gotten together and talked to each other. And there's a lot of concern. There's concern about the schools. Who's going to fund the schools? Is it 20 years? Is it 30 years that the schools will actually get an active amount of money to survive? The other thing is mowing the lawn. I mow the lawn every 4 days where I live, and I live on 5 acres. Is someone going to come out like Mr. Vanderhei and mow every 4 days? Or how much grass am I going to have by the end of 2 weeks? If I don't mow, my grass is potentially this long in 3 weeks. And I'm concerned about the fires. I'm surrounded 360. Somebody needs to unlock the fence. And I was told this at the meeting in February, somebody needs to unlock the fence to get the fire department to come in, or they would need to find somebody to work at that issue. So first of all, we need specialized fire trucks. We have multiple fire departments that respond. We have Cambria, we have Friesland, we have Fox Lake, Beaver Dam. How are they going to handle the fire? Are they going to be trained to handle a massive fire? Because we're in we're in a marsh similar to Horicon, Paradise Marsh, and that could go up very quickly. The other problem that I see is I don't understand when I read the people who are for it. They all live in a community like Wauwatosa, Eau Claire. I look at their address, they're 3950 Deer Trail. They're nowhere in our area. They've never known how we've lived, but yet they're in favor of our project. But I wonder if they'd be in favor if they had to live like we would have to live. Because I don't feel that they're giving us a chance to live when we're completely surrounded. Some of the irreversible environmental effects of the PROS project, according to page 62, 5.4 says after decommissioning, some buried infrastructure below certain depths may be remain in place. We were told everything would go back to normal after 30 years. I don't believe that's normal to leave things in place. I don't believe decommissioning would occur in some cases. What are they going to do? How are they going to decommission these? Who's going to pay for that? So I'm asking you today, and I'm saying in April, we had a referendum in the township of Courtland, and greater than 70% of the people opposed solar on prime farmland. And I feel it's necessary to listen to the community. We're here for a reason. We're here because we love to be in this area. We love our neighbors. We want to be a good neighbor. And we feel that this isn't being a good neighbor by putting solar panels, which will have glare. There will be dust, the construction all around me for how many months? You speak in this document of working during the nighttime. Is it fair to work during the nighttime when you have families trying to sleep? And why is that even an option at this point? And as a committee, we decided on the hours would be 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. That shouldn't be any different than that. It shouldn't be in the nighttime. Nobody should have to hear that noise of construction. The dust, unbearable dust, especially on all 4 sides of my house. I don't know how that would even work with all the dust. So I want to ask you to seriously think about what would happen if I had a fire. Fibrosis of the lungs, the hardening lung tissue, I would no longer have adequate oxygen exchange to live as a result of those solar panels burning. And yet, it doesn't even seem to appear that the PSC realizes the severity of having a fire in this area. It's devastating. So thank you for your time. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, thanks very much. Diane Holman. But before you get started, I just want to make an announcement. So I have one more appearance left. After Diane is done, I have one more person signed up to make a comment. So if anyone else wants to speak, make sure you get your appearance slip back to staff and check the yes, speak now box there. Then I'll get your appearance slip. So, but at this point, it looks like we're pretty much coming to the end of the hearing. And I have no one online who wants to make a comment. So just want to give people a heads up about that. So, all right, well, let's get started with you. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Go ahead. You want to speak into the mic? Yeah. It seems a little low right now. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a little better?
That's,
Okay.
can you guys hear?
Bear with me as I was adding notes as I was sitting there.
That's
So,
fine.
I might skip around a little bit. My name is Diane Homan. I live on Schilling Road in Courtland Township. I have lived in this community all of my life. I am not ashamed to say that's 62 plus years. I'm going to be echoing a lot of what others have been saying, and they've gone into more depth than what I will be. But still, from my heart, it's just I love it here. My neighbors have become my friends. That's a plus out of all of this. We have gotten reacquainted and have grown. I love the land. I love the wildlife. I have a small woods near us and some water, and we have various birds, the eagles, of course, and just all different birds that are too numerous to mention that migrate through each season, and many that stay year round. I have deer that have fawns right in our woods, and they come and help themselves to my lawn and my flowers, but I will let that go because I love them that much. So yes, I am greatly concerned for my neighbors and my friends, as a lot of the things that they have shared. I am concerned for their health and life should a fire, as Pat mentioned. I'm concerned for the volunteer firemen and women who are also neighbors and friends, being a small community. And they're risking their lives to fight these solar fires that, again, echoing that have happened in other communities. Will they have access to the training as well? Let's see. Okay, some other of the concerns related to the large scale of solar fields would be, as again, others have mentioned, is the jobs related to the agricultural. I mean, this goes down to truck drivers, to, fertilizer plants. And I mean, just a long list. The loss of the ag land for food, that was also mentioned. With many people coming into this country, we will need that food. The health concerns related to the solar panels and with the glare and the chemicals, should they be broken through fire or storm that way? Because we do have hail and tornadoes and such in our community. How to recycle the parts. Some might be able to, but the articles I read, they never go into how or what they will do with the chemicals inside of them as well. Where would that go? Who will take them? What will happen to that? Again, the impact of the wildlife, as others have mentioned, as far as like the deer's normal travel patterns. Our birds and pollinators. I've read many stories how they, the birds and butterflies and such could think that the panels are water, or as they're trying to get to, if there's flowers underneath, that they could fry trying to get to their source. All right.
It's okay, has a couple ideas. Just say the coal plant in Portage is going to close. We know people who were let go from there originally when this all started, but have been called back. And since then too, the timeline has been pushed back so that it'll stay open later. And is that my understanding is that between solar and wind, they only produce up to 15%. We will need the coal plant, and it is the cleanest one in our country. They have spent my source at over $800 million. Hopefully I have that correct. I don't have that with me, to clean it up and make it a better place, environment. So it'd be awful to close it down for that as well. So it is my understanding also that the electricity that's collected through the solar panels will benefit more of the larger cities and will not be staying here, the farmers in our community. So why not focus more on the large rooftops in larger communities, towns, that will be benefiting from the product anyway. Let's see. Well, I guess that's pretty much. And probably summing up, you probably realize that I am not totally for the large scale solar. Private property is one thing on their own. A lot of people say it's their property to do what they want. Yes, but I'm concerned about my friends, my neighbors who are going to be having it near them and all their concerns. They're my priority right now. So I guess for now, that is all. But thank you for listening.
Well, thanks very much. Okay, we have a couple more. Whoops. Right. So next up is Ross Werner. Swear or affirm to truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right.
My name is Ross Werner. I own some vacant land in the proposed site. I don't want to repeat a lot of things that everyone has said. So my question is more for the Public Service Commission. When you look at this area, from what you've heard, this is an agricultural recreational area with the lakes, the marshes, the farming. The major revenue for this area is agricultural. When they needed years ago canning facilities, we have 2 of them right here. When they needed ethanol plants, we got 2 of them right here within 5 miles maybe of these projects. We have a milling facility, corn milling facility in this area that, the people here know when accidents happen. When that explosion at Didion was there a few years ago, there were friends, family members that were killed, severely hurt. That was a major blow for the area. So taking agricultural land out of this, and that's not to mention seed fertilizer, which people have mentioned, that it's huge for this area. So I don't know that you can really measure the lost revenue by taking that land out of production. I agree with everything that, I'm obviously opposed to it. I have solar on my house, but I don't think that I hope that the Public Service Commission looks at where this project is being placed. I mean, whenever they've come up with either wind, and it seems like there's more wind projects that are coming to this area from what I've received, you know, how much do you want the county to do, or how, what, you know, what? When you locate this project, how did it get here? Thank you.
Okay. I don't really have an answer for that. The applicant will, initially selects the site and brings their application to us, so.
But when you look at
Right.
it, I think you should take a look at what the community has done for the state of Wisconsin, Columbia County, the area. I mean, you're gonna give.
Right. Well, that's where we're getting your comments, so.
Thank you.
They can review what you think.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Yeah, one more appearance left. Is this the last one for now? This will be the last one for tonight. Let's go off the record, just to give you a break. So, yeah, you've been typing. So let me just say off the record, and I can just refresh this right now because I do have the comments in front of me. Or maybe. Yeah, so 92 comments on file so far. And the comments that were received in writing are in the back. I'm going to bring those back to the commission. We'll scan those in to our system. And all the comments we received on the transcript, that'll be forwarded to the commissioners as well. Don't forget, we'll be here on Zoom, only on Zoom on Friday, 10 a.m. for the party session where we'll get evidence from the parties and commission staff. And that'll conclude the hearing process. And also the written comments are due on Friday. So if you still need to get a comment in, the link to our website will be open all through till the end of the day on Friday. We'll also take comments that are received by mail on no later than Friday. So those are your ways you can still participate. Let me call our last member of the public, Joyce Manthe. Oh, yeah, you have a question?
I have a question before you go back on the record.
Yeah, okay, we can go off. Yeah.
So the question is, all these comments that are being, you say you're taking it back.
Yeah.
How do we know that the commission reads each one?
Okay, well, they're given all of those comments. I can't tell you what they put their eyes on, but they're all there for them to review. It is their obligation to review the record before they make a decision in the case.
Okay.
So, yeah. Also, commission staff also reviews the comments, and if they notice a trend in the comments, or if there's a particular issue that's been mentioned, they can also flag that for the commissioners to bring to their attention. Okay, so let's get on the record. I already called your name. Okay, go ahead. So it's Joyce Manthe. All right. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Joyce Manthe. I'm from Springvale Township and I've lived there all my life. I'm a daughter of I'm a farmer's daughter. I'm a proud daughter of a farmer. There, how's that? I'll get it out there. Sorry about that. Many of my family still farm. And the land that is leased, the money that the solar companies are leasing, the money that they're paying to lease the farmland is a lot more than the farmers can actually afford if they are farming and having to lease to get the cropland they need. I have several relatives who are younger and who want to continue to farm. And as the land gets used up more and more, where's that land going to be? And what is going to continue? How is a farmer going to continue doing that? There are many other ways. And one of the ways I would like to see is to back up a little bit and let solar, the technology of solar, come ahead a little farther, get the answers that we need, like how much are they really going to produce for that amount of acreage taken up. And at that point, I was even told by one of the representatives in the county board meeting that a lot of us were there and heard that the technology is revolving every day, and it's going to take less and less farmland in the future to put these solar arrays on.
The comprehensive plan for both Columbia County and Springvale, as in Courtland, says protect the farmland. That's the number one goal. And yet I constantly see it ripped apart. Homes are going up in any field you want to go. And now you want to take thousands of acres. They want to take thousands of acres, and this is only phase one. They're talking another phase coming in as well. It hurts. It just hurts. And yes, I have lived here a long time. I thank the people from Courtland, or we wouldn't have even known it in Springvale Township. It was done under the table. I had to tell relatives and neighbors, and even as of last year in December, a lot of them have never heard of it happening in our community. Yes, under the table, money made secretly. We have had many straight line windstorms in this community. I have lived through 2 of the tornadoes that really ripped the shreds some of the area. My concern, one of them for the safety of our community, is what happens when these twisters come in and rip these solar panels up. If it can rip through farmland and homes and take roofs off homes and so on and so forth, what's it going to do to solar panels? There's going to be nothing left of them. You've seen the devastation of the tornadoes on television and the news. Where are all these parts and particles going to go? Who's going to clean them up? Oh, I've been told by Alliant, oh, we have people that'll clean it up. If you've ever cleaned up after a tornado, it isn't easy to do it, and you're not going to get it all. There's still chunks of insulation and trees from 2008. Another thing I'd like to say is I think solar panels should be taken down into the cities where they are needed more. There's more electricity used there constantly. And if you want to turn on a light switch at your home and you don't feel you have enough electricity, put the solar panels there. I might even do it. But if the solar panels need to be on farmland, that's taking food out of people's mouths. And the people down in the cities, there's more areas that they could put them on. Maybe the rooftops of stores, maybe the rooftops of parking ramps, instead of taking up the farmland. We're never going to get that back. God has blessed this area with prime farmland, and I would please beg the PSC to help us keep it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. Anyone else hasn't had a chance to speak yet, wish to speak now? No? Okay. Well, that'll conclude our public hearing session. I want to thank everyone for participating and joining us today. And I want to reiterate, the reason why we came is because we do take your comments seriously, and the commissioners will review those comments and consider them when they're making their decisions. So appreciate you all for being here and for making your comments honest and heartfelt. And I'm sure that'll get the attention of our decision makers. So appreciate it very much. Take care, everybody.